Hello guys, welcome back to the Beastie Room. Now today we're going to do a rehouse, and we're trying something a little bit new. We have tested this with some of our arboreal spiders, and now we're quite happy with the results with that. So we're now going to try it for some of our smaller fossorial stuff. Now this is, as you can see, this is just a basic cereal box, airtight cereal box that you can pick up off of Amazon, which is where these come from, and they got an airtight lid to them, so there's a rubber in here, and that gives it a nice firm thing. And then we've also got a top there, so we can open up if we just want to pop food in. We can use this. Now I looked at these a long time ago, and I thought, well, maybe we can give them a try and see how they go. And then because of where we are now, and we're sort of like struggling with space, so I thought it's an ideal time to give them a go. So we did actually do some recently, well, a little while back now, and we put some of our adult pokies in them, and some of our juvie pokies as well, and they've done really well. And one of the things we've noticed is that a lot of our pokies they're out all the time, but they're up on the front plastic here, and they're getting the warmth. They really do enjoy the warmth. Now they've actually got bark in the back, so they've got somewhere to hide, but we're finding all of our pokies are sitting out, which is rather unusual. It's but very nice to see, and they're settling in. They're doing really well. Now the good thing about these containers are, being all plastic as well, they're not 100% clear, so you do get a little bit of a milky look through them. But the good thing is they are really good for our humid loving spiders, and we can control that humidity so easy in these. It really is simple to do. So we thought the next stage, we've trialed running it with some of the arboreal stuff, and we've had great results so far. Our next step with them is to actually breed them and try these as a breeding enclosure to see whether that works. We'll obviously have to do things slightly different to how we've done things in the past, but it's going to be a good thing. So now what we're going to do is we're going to try this for some of our fossorial stuff, and we've got a female Haplocosmia himalayana in here. This was in her temporary enclosure, and as you can see, these guys are a fossorial spider, and one of the problems with these style enclosures is there is just too much ventilation, and the soil dries out as quick as we can moisten it up. It's drying out, so not ideal. These guys do like a little bit of dampness in the soil. So what we're going to do, I thought we'd run through this as we do it from start. I'm sure many of you will know exactly what to do anyway, but we're going to give it a quick go for those who don't. So what we do is we're going to end up filling this box, because it's for a fossorial spider. We're going to end up filling it 3/4 or so full, almost up to here probably, with soil, so it's got the majority of it to actually dig down. And we're going to do a couple of little tricks to see if it works as well. So what we do is we put our masking tape on, because these don't come with air holes, and they must have air holes. So what we do is we use our tape measure or ruler, and then we're going to go, literally we're just going to take a line from there, and we're going to take a line from there, and then we can draw a line here, because as you know, I'm really anal about everything being in the right place. I hate things that look out of place, not symmetrical. And then what we're going to do, we're going to put a hole literally at inch intervals. So we'll do it like that. Nice and simple, you see. Now we're going to do the other side. You notice we're using the magic masking tape. This stuff has so many lovely uses, it's unbelievable. So then we're going to go again from the end. Doesn't need to be exact, but as long as it's in a line, it will look nice. So we're going to run that through there. Put that through there. Right. Go from that one. Put that there and one there. Now the good thing is we know from doing our other ones roughly how many holes. You don't need to put loads and loads of holes in there to get decent ventilation. Right then, so what we do now is we've got our step drill. See, lovely clean holes. There we go. I normally do it standing up because I find it easier. Plus the fact I can see my step drill. Alright, there you go. Every spider keeper should have a step drill. Amazing things. Right, and then all we do is we take that off. Take that off there. And we should, in theory, have nice clean holes. Perfect. Now then, here, look, this is a one. We've got one here that hasn't gone all the way through. And the reason that is because we ended up with a build-up on the drill. So we ended up with on the cutting edges here, it built up and we carried on. And that's why it didn't cut it cleanly out. So there you go, we just literally go in one more time and that's done it. We should have done it. There you go. Nice clean job. Right, so then we get rid of the rubbish. Always good to tidy up as you go. I'm always telling camera lady that. Tidy up as you go. Right. Right then. So now we can fill it up with soil. Such a simple way of doing things. And we're just going to use our normal potting compost. Remember guys, it's nothing fancy, it's just the cheap stuff. A bit there. Stick a little bit more in. And don't forget, once she starts to actually build her burrow, she's going to turf a fair bit of this out. And it's got nowhere to go. So we're literally just going to push gently on the top. Don't need a lot. Now you'll notice there's a tiny little indentation on these. This is where you can actually get a hold of them. So you can probably see that now in there. Yeah. So this is going to be the area that we're going to end up, we're going to put our water bowl up this end. And then we're going to put our starter burrow is going to be in this end. So because I'm right-handed, we're going to turn it round. And all we've done is we've put down a little bit of pressure, but hardly anything. So just by tapping this down, shaking it, giving it a bit of a slap, all of that will actually go down and settle. There's no need to compress it madly. We want our spider to be able to dig down. So that is more than enough. And then all we do is a slight little bit of pressure on the top, just to cover the top inch or so. Then what we're going to do is we're going to use just a simple piece of cork bark, something that's pretty much the width of, as you can see there, the width of the enclosure. Now what we're going to do now is we want our spider to burrow in this area. So what we're going to do is we're literally just going to push down with our fingers down there as far as we can. That's enough. And we're hoping that this is going to encourage her to actually go down into there. Now, the reason we're putting it right at the end, we're going to put a little bit of soil on that, and we'll just pat that down. That is purely just to try and hold this piece of cork bark in place. The reason we've angled that right up against the side is because I'm hoping that when she burrows down, we will be able to see through here. If she burrows down without touching the sides, we'll never see what's going on. Hopefully, if the plan works out, she'll go right the way down the side and probably go down the bottom, and then she'll probably end up down here somewhere. But as long as we get a little bit of access, a little bit of sight, we should be okay. Now we're going to put our water bowl in there. Now we're in two minds here, whether we fill our water bowl now and do that, or my gut tells me to leave the water bowl out for the time being, give her 24 hours or so to actually get in there, dig it all out, start making her burrow. Once she's down there, we can leave her without water for 2 or 3 days, and it's not going to be any problem. She's in absolutely perfect condition, so it's not going to be an issue if she doesn't have water for a couple of days. So I think what we'll do is we'll leave that out and we'll wait, and we'll let her set up home, and then we'll introduce the water bowl, and we're there. We are good to go. So it's a real simple enclosure. You notice she don't need a lot of space up here because she's a fossorial spider. She's going to be dug down, right down in the bottom. It's more important she's got depth of soil rather than space up here. When it's our arboreal spiders, it's the other way around, isn't it? It's reverse. So that's what we're going to do for our fossorial spider. Now, let's see the lady in question. Now these guys are quite a small spider. They're even fully grown, they're not massive. So this should, in theory, be absolutely fine for her. Now I can see her bum. So what we're going to do, take the water bowl out. And what we're going to do, we're going to try and get her to come out. Try and get her to back up. Here she is. Now, many of the fossorial spiders can have a reasonable amount of attitude, so we have to be a little bit careful with them, be a bit gentle with them. You can see the colouring on her there. Look at that colouring. These bands here, these are like a peach, and they're sometimes known as the peach earth tiger. They are absolutely beautiful. Now she will get a little bit bigger than this. She's not completely fully grown, although she is. Just get that little bit of stuff. Look at that. She didn't mind that, did she? She is of a breedable size, so we can go ahead and try and breed this girl. So it'd be nice to actually find a male and see what we can do. Now I think what we'll do with her is we will just, rather than catch her up, there you go, you can have a good look at that now. I think she'll look better once we get her in here, because she'll have that lovely dark background. Now what we're going to do, we're going to just try and walk her over the top. There's no need to catch them if we don't have to. We'll try and get her to walk rather than run. I'm just going to give her a little tickle. Now, bearing in mind, being a fossorial spider, we've moved her out into the open, so she will feel a little bit threatened. There we go. You notice we're maintaining contact, we're being nice and gentle. We are physically now, we are literally just lifting her into position. The old enclosure is gone, so she doesn't want to come backwards now, because there is nothing there. There we go. Well, you get some lovely shots there, I bet. He's get a bit of light on her if we can. You can see that colouring. Absolutely gorgeous. Now these are a spider, being a fossorial spider, these are what I would call a strictly fossorial spider, which means they are pretty much a pet whole. Now these guys, we've had these before now where we don't even get to see them for months at a time. Absolutely months at a time. It's not very strong like that, is it?
No.
Now, so they can stay hidden away for a very, very long time. Now, see if we can get a bit of... There we go. There we go. That's better, isn't it? So yes, we've had them before now where they burrow down, they seal themselves in, and we don't see them for 2-3 months. Even when I come in and I check over night time, they still haven't come out. You know, these are a spider that manages to eat a good sized roach, and that roach can last them months at a time before they need to come up and feed again. Now, they're quite unusual like that. They come from the southern slopes of the Himalayan slopes, and it's quite cold there over night time as well. So these guys work out around about 70. They can go from 70 down to 80, up to 80 degrees, and they're perfectly happy. Now, obviously on the Himalayan slopes, the winters are very, very cold. So these guys go deep down in the winter time, disappear, and they won't feed for months. And then as the weather warms up, they'll start to venture out, they'll come up, the males are mature off, and they'll start hunting for females. So maybe because of the very, very long cold winters that these guys go through, they've actually adapted to be able to make the full use of any food that they manage to get hold of. And they don't behave like other regular tarantulas. And this is very true of many of the spiders that have cold winters. They're capable of going long periods without feeding. So this is something that you want to take into account, not only with these guys, but with many of the spiders. Now, we've had a lot of messages of recent times, people worrying about their spiders because they're not feeding. You know, these guys are not designed to be feeding a couple of times a week or every week without fail. You know, many of our spiders will eat, you know, religiously. They'll eat a roach or a cricket every week, and then all of a sudden they switch off. And then people start worrying then, because it's all of, you know, they're not eating, they're going to starve to death. They can go for a long time without food. And these are a massive example of just how long they can go without food. They're very, very pretty, but seldom seen. But when you do see them, wow, they're worth it. So what we're going to do now is we want her to go down. She's been very, very well behaved, considering these guys can and quite often do have a lot of attitude. She is being very, very gentle. So we're going to we'd like her to go down onto the floor. There we go. Do you mind going down there? Yeah. There we go. She's your new home. Now it does actually look to to all intents and purposes, on the top, it doesn't look like there's a huge amount of room for her. But you've got to remember, these guys live inside a burrow. So it's, how's that? So they live inside a burrow, so they don't need a lot of space. They're not a wandering spider. They don't go out and wander around. So, you know, bear that in mind when you're making your enclosures up. Look at how your spider lives. That dictates how much space it requires. And hopefully, after we've had a little chat with her, she'll actually build her burrow right the way down the side wall of this enclosure. There she goes. She's having a move now. And all will be good. What a lovely spider. No, we don't want you coming out, do we?
Come see camera lady.
Yeah. We don't want her coming out and tearing down the side. They can move really quick. But we don't want to get an example of that. Right, you come back down in here, please. You notice we're not getting any defensive behaviour from her. And you can see here now, we're just gently touching her legs. But what we're also doing is by keeping a very small amount of pressure on them front legs, we're actually closing her down slightly, which doesn't allow her to behave in a defensive way because her legs are all sort of down flat. There you go. Very well behaved. Right, so now what we're going to do, we're going to put the lid on. We're going to put the whole end where our water bowl is going to be. So we're going to stick that up that end. There is a bit of a knack to getting these on, as I've just been shown. They do actually work in. And they've got good strong clips on the sides and on the ends. And there you go. That is one very secure spider. That's not going anywhere. Now we can maintain the moisture within this so easily because we can see everything that's going on. And when we want it, as it starts to dry out, which is going to take a long time to dry out in here, it will almost self-feed itself. If it's too wet and you get water up on the top here, then you need to just take the top off, dry it with a tissue, dry around the sides, put it back on. As it does it again, you repeat the process and you will take out any excess water. Remember how you test your soil? You just want to get hold of it from the pot, give it a squeeze. If it holds together and you can let it down and it just brushes off your hand, that is perfect. That is where you want it to be. If you're squeezing water out of it, it's far too wet. Way too wet. So you've got all the tools for the trade. You know what you're doing now. This is a good example. So give these a try. We're really pleased with them so far, and hopefully it'll also give us a lot more space on the shelves. We've got a lot of small minaxes and things like that that need to be moved over. We've got some lividum. They will do exactly the same. And then I'm hoping that because they're quite small like this, we can put them together and we can either have them out on the desk and we can pair them because our males will have plenty of room to disappear. He will be able to escape should he need to. Or we can put them in the net and we can just leave them in overnight and let them go and let them do their own thing. The males will have plenty of time to escape. Right then, well that is our Haplocosmia himalayana. I think you'll agree that's an absolutely beautiful spider. Really nice spider. Right then, well I hope you enjoyed that and you found it useful. And hopefully you can try some of these yourselves and tell us how you get on. It'd be really cool. Don't forget to like the video, guys. Please hit the like button. It really does help. And don't forget, be calm, be gentle, and love your spider. And I will see you soon, guys.